party was in a decent like a ballroom. Soft music of piano, and some couples doing couple dance on the stage. Of course, Yoonmin, Namjin and Sope couple were dancing on the stage. Taekook were busy greeting the guests and talking with them. Baby, will you dance with me? Jungkook asked, extending his hand to Taehyung, who smiled and took it. They both stood at the center of the stage. Jungkook wrapped his hand around Taehyung's waist and pulled him closer. Taehyung put both his hands on Jungkook's shoulder and looked into his eyes. They began dancing to a slow-paced romantic song, and Taehyung looked down when he couldn't look into Jungkook's intense eyes anymore. But Jungkook didn't like it, so he squeezed Taehyung's slim waist where his hand was already placed. Taehyung let out a low gasp and directly looked at Jungkook, feeling butterflies dancing in his stomach. "Kooky," Taehyung whispered with a red face. Jungkook smirked at his reaction. There were other couples who were dancing in their own little world, so none of them noticed this interaction. Even Jeon couples were also on stage. "What, Babik, you were looking down all the time? I too want my baby's attention," Jungkook said in a complaining tone with his picture-perfect innocent blue eyes, like a child. But his hands were telling another story, that are rubbing circles on Taehyung's waist, and another hand squeezing his waist slightly. Taehyung was both flustered and frustrated at his situation. There is no way he can get off stage. That means he cannot escape from Jungkook's hands. Jungkook always shows this kind of innocent face to pull a heart-fluttering stunt on Taehyung in public, so that no one notices. But as a result, Taehyung had to control his face to give any subtitles to the public. "Corny bunny. Said you will get your reward at night, right? Why are you pulling off this stunt now?" Taehyung asked in a frustrated tone. "But this is not part of the reward, baby. This is what I am taking from you to stay sane, or else I might punch that old right in the face for looking at you like that," Jungkook said, and Taehyung shook his head. He can't say anything now. He's speechless. It's true that an old man was looking at him with no good intentions, and Jungkook seems to notice it, and from that time his cold face also carried a frown, making him unapproachable to the guests. "Kooky, he's a foreigner, and he's none of our business. Calm down, okay?" Taehyung coaxed Jungkook, so that he wouldn't cause any real trouble. Jungkook frowned but didn't say anything, and Taehyung knows that the man's fate is doomed tragically. After their dance, Jungkook and Taehyung went to the dining area, where Jake and Nove were already stuffing their mouths with food. Taehyung joined them, and the three of them started stuffing food, while their partners began talking business and other discussions while eating and drinking. "Bogum, how's life going with Jake? Ever since you went to Busan, Jimin has been so worried about you," Wooshik asked, sipping his wine. Bogum just nodded his head. "Good, Hyung, but it's getting too busy lately. Jake is working as my assistant there, so we couldn't call Chim. It's good that Yoongi is taking care of him. Jake is quite relaxed and eating food properly," Bogum replied. Jungkook raised an eyebrow and looked at them back and forth, and then at their partners who were stuffing food into their mouths without caring about anybody. "Is Jake Hyung pregnant?" Jungkook asked, and Bogum and Wooshik choked on their wine. They looked at with a tough face, but Jungkook was still looking at them seriously. "Be serious, Jungkook. Jake is a man," Bogum said, and shook his head. "Then why is he eating like a pregnant person craving all the food?" Jungkook asked again. "Because they are having a mukbang competition. Who will eat more? No time limit, only stomach storage capacity," Wooshik answered, and Jungkook looked back at them and rushed to his baby. Wooshik and Bogum shook their heads in disbelief. "I really don't know what to feel about Jeon family. The whole family feels jealous about beer," Wooshik said, and Bogum agreed. "Baby, come, let's go. Grandma prepared a special recipe for you," Jungkook whispered in his ear, and Taehyung, who was stuffing food like an alien, looked at Jungkook with sparkly eyes. "Don't say loud, baby. They may eat your food," Jungkook whispered again. Taehyung looked at Jake and Note with narrow eyes, and saw they both were still busy with their mukbang. He nodded his head at Jungkook, and he took Taehyung to the kitchen. He opened the fridge and took out a small strawberry cake that was made fresh. Taehyung couldn't stop himself and rushed to Jungkook. Jungkook put the cake on the kitchen counter and lifted Taehyung like a child and made him sit on the counter beside the cake. He gave a spoon to Taehyung, and he began to eat. Jungkook was admiring his baby, eating so adorably with a pout, and occasionally wiping his food from mouth to Jungkook's shirt. He doesn't mind his baby doing anything to him. As the party came to an end, all the guests left the hall. Taehyung was still in a hyperactive bubble, while others were dozing off. Jones offered Min's and Kim's to stay there, as it was already late, and the children were dozing off. Everyone went to Jeon mansion and dozed off, but Jungkook and Taehyung were still wide awake like owls, and waiting for the others to sleep, as they were having other plans. Kooky, we'll go now. Everyone is too tired to even keep their eyes open. We'll go out from the back door, Taehyung said, but Jungkook shook his head. Baby, I know my hounds well. They'll not sleep now. We have to be more careful. It's good that our rooms are soundproof, but their rooms are not soundproof, Jungkook said. Taehyung understood what he meant, and his face flushed. He looked down to hide his red face. Jungkook smirked seeing his reaction. He pulled Taehyung by waist and pinned a loose hair strand behind his ear. Baby, where is my reward? I was well off under the shower, with you in my arms. But you said I'll get a better reward from that. Where is it? Jungkook asked. And Taehyung was stunned. When did I say that? I said I'll give you a reward. I never said that it will be better than that, Taehyung blurted out, but he didn't notice the smirk growing on Jungkook's lips. So, you think our shower moment was better than that party? Jungkook asked. And Taehyung looked at him speechless. Now he knows Jungkook trapped him with words, and there is no way to back away. Even if he does, Jungkook won't let him. So he surrendered. Okay, what do you want as a reward? Taehyung asked. I'll take my reward after we reach the place, baby, Jungkook said. Why don't you tell me where we are going? Taehyung asked again. His hands are now sliding to Jungkook's shoulders. Then what's the fun, baby? I said it's a surprise for you. Keep patience, darling, Jungkook said, kissing his cheek. After some time they snuck out of the room and went into the hallway to move downstairs. On the way to the back door they passed through the guest rooms. Taehyung and Jungkook were walking like thieves hand in hand. They heard some weird sounds from the guest room. Taehyung's ears perked up and he stopped, but Jungkook was trying to take his baby away from there. Kooky, I heard something. Taehyung's voice came out, a low whisper. Jungkook cursed under his breath and looked back only to meet Taehyung's innocent eyes, searching for the source of the sound. Baby, see, I told you. They'll not sleep at this time. We should go from here, Jungkook said and guided Taehyung to the back door. As planned, Jungkook already parked his bike there, and they both drove away in the night. If you were wondering who's behind the closed door, you'll sit in the cool breeze and under the night sky. Jungkook and Taehyung drove on the highway. Taehyung closed his eyes as soon as the cold air tickled his skin. He was feeling relaxed. He hugged Jungkook from behind, his chin on Jungkook's shoulder and eyes closed. Jungkook looked at his baby enjoying the mirror and smiled. As soon as they reached the destination, Taehyung's eyes lit up. It's a beach. Taehyung has been wanting to go to a beach lately, but due to university exams and assignments, he couldn't manage it. But now he's here with his lover, or her bonifiant. He immediately got off the bike, removed his shoes and ran to the water and started playing. He was happy, very happy. Jungkook was smiling all the time looking at his love. Taehyung was shining in the moonlight, and the water glistening on his skin made him look more beautiful. Jungkook chuckled seeing Taehyung slipped in water, but still smiling and jiggling at himself, totally forgetting about everything. Jungkook too removed his shoes and went into the water. He silently went near Taehyung from behind and lifted him, catching Taehyung off guard. Taehyung's voice came in a squeak as response, and before he realized, Jungkook left him, causing him to fall in water again. Now soaked like a wet puppy, Jungkook laughed. Laughed? Hard. Harder. A very hearty laugh that mesmerized Taehyung. This is the first time he saw a bunny smile, and the laugh of wrinkled nose and poking bunny teeth. Jungkook looked more handsome to him while laughing this carefree. A smile tugged at his lips too. You have a bunny smile, Taehyung said softly. Jungkook stopped and smiled at him widely. Taehyung took a chance and splashed water on Jungkook. Jungkook got startled at that and looked at Taehyung surprisingly, but got another splash in response as if inviting him to a splash challenge. Jungkook also splashed at Taehyung, and they both started a splash fight, and swimming away sometimes, and running in sand to escape. After playing for a bit more, Jungkook dragged his baby out of the water and handed him a towel and patted him as he had already packed neatly. They changed in the wooden room, which looks more like a storage spot. After changing, Jungkook offered Taehyung his favorite strawberry shake, and both of them walked hand in hand along the beach, feeling the cool air and comfortable silence, until Taehyung decided to break it. So what do you want as a reward? Taehyung asked. Jungkook looked at him with a smile and shook his head. I already took my reward, Jungkook answered. But Taehyung's brows frowned. Jungkook chuckled, seeing his expression, something between curiosity and confusion. He cupped Taehyung's face and pressed a kiss on his forehead. Baby, my reward is to spend some time with you privately, somewhere peaceful, and cuddle with you all night, talking, laughing, whispering, sharing secrets under the moon, and then watch the sunrise in pajamas. Going to breakfast and then heading home with a contented heart, Jungkook said, and Taehyung's heart swelled with happiness with the gentleness of his cookie's love for him. I love you, Cookie, Taehyung said and hugged Jungkook tight. That night both were wrapped under the blanket, arms wrapped around each other, talking, watching stars, sharing some moments of their life, laughing and giggling. That day Taehyung saw a bunny boy hidden behind a muscular cold face. It's true that Jungkook's personality was naturally cold and reserved, but there is also a part of him that is as innocent and pure as a child, a rare childishness that no one knew existed except for him, and he felt blessed for that. That night they didn't sleep. They talked to their heart content until the sunrise. They saw the sunrise casting a golden light on them, feeling warm after the cold wind all night, feeling refreshed. Then they headed to a local restaurant on the bike and ate to their heart content. The old woman who served them food even complimented them for a match made in heaven. Later they headed home. It was still very early in the morning, so no one woke up, especially some who will not wake up now. So they silently went to their bedroom and slept tangled in each other's arms. By the time Taehyung stirred from his sleep, it was already late noon. His head was buzzing, and his body was itching like he was hit by a train. He tried to move but was held still by a weight on his stomach. He looked down and found a tattooed arm wrapped around him. He looked at his side and found Jungkook sleeping peacefully, but his face was red, flushed. Oh, he woke up. Here, have some soup, Jimin said, entering the room with a tray in his hands. Taehyung looked at him, still dizzy and groggy. You two were burning in fever when Jeon entered the room to wake you two up. She panicked and Jin checked you two, so we let you two sleep more, Jimin said, and a flashback flashed in front of Taehyung. He looked at Jimin with his puppy eyes. What? Don't look at me like that. Taehyung is fuming in anger this time. He said you two have been in the water for a long time, Jimin said with a mischievous smile, while wiggling his eyebrows. You two did that? A two in the bathroom? He asked again, and Taehyung choked on his soup. Jimin patted his back for comfort, but only got glares in return. Who was the one moaning shamelessly? You. Fast. Yes, 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 Ho. What do you think of yourself? Even Taehyung and Holyfics weren't any less. I thought married couples needed some private space and soundproof rooms. But here you're the one needing them. What if me, Pat, up listened to you had you all were so loud? Taehyung complained, no, caring about the red face of his bestie. You. Jimin stuttered with a red face, unable to hide his embarrassed face. But Taehyung kept a blank face and folded his hands on his chest. What you? You're shy now. Poppy said Yoongi might get you pregnant at this rate, even if you were a boy. Do you understand my situation in front of him like that? That day I thought you'll come to university, but you ditched me, you. Taehyung's voice sounded weak, but the sarcasm wasn't hidden. Jimin ran away with a red face. Taehyung laughed loudly seeing Jimin run like that, but got suddenly pulled down by a muscular arm. He gasped and looked to his side only to see Jungkook was already looking at him with half-closed eyes. He smiled a bit and caressed his cheek. Jimin said we both had fever last night. Fanfiction is fuming in anger now. Taehyung said with a slight smile. Looking at Jungkook rubbing his face to his palm, Jungkook opened his eyes and looked at him, with those tired doe eyes looking like a sick bunny but a bigger one. Let's tell them we went to the beach, baby. I just want you now. Jungkook mumbled in a sleepy voice and hugged Taehyung more, putting his face on Taehyung's neck, seeking comfort. Taehyung felt extremely bad seeing Jungkook that weak. Okay, let's just drink some soup and sleep again, okay, Taehyung said, making Jungkook sit straight on the bed despite his heavy body. Jungkook didn't press much and drank the soup. Taehyung was feeding him in a half-sleep state, and they both slept again in each other's embrace. It was the next day. They both came to their senses, and Jungkook was scared because he told his family that he took Taehyung to the beach at midnight and played in the water for about 2 hours, then ate junk food outside at a local restaurant, and got home without anyone noticing. Juems and Hyun were fuming in anger because of the carelessness of the two ground people. Dan was standing in front of them with hands folding on his chest, smoke erupting from his ears, and ready to rap. With whose permission you both stepped out of the house late at night? Jin asked in a calm tone, which was not giving good vibes to both of them. Taehyung and Jungkook were sitting side by side on the sofa, heads hanging down. Sorry, Han, Jungkook said in a low voice. Jeon couples were almost on the verge of shock, seeing their son, the great Jungkook, who never bows to anyone, actually hung his head low in front of Jin. Jungkook held Jin's hands, made him sit on the sofa, and knelt in front of him like a kicked bunny, looking at him with dew eyes, looking all innocent and wrong. There was no coldness in his face, which shocked everyone present there. Hyun, I just wanted to take a break with Ta, so we went to the beach. We were not that sleepy at night. We thought you all were sleeping, and didn't want to disturb you. So I took Tae there without telling anyone. I am sorry, Hyun, Jungkook said in a low voice. Yin melted fast like ice. He caressed Jungkook's head and smiled at him. I am not angry that you took him there, Pook. I was so panicked and worried seeing your temperature. I had to give you an injection for your temperature control. This brat was better than you. I felt so sad seeing you like that, all weak and pale. I have seen you all tall and strong, that I couldn't even imagine you like that. Don't do this again, okay? Jin said, caressing his hair. And Jungkook just laid his head on Jin's lap, feeling light-hearted and happy for some reason. In the past 2 years, Jungkook has built a very delicate bond with Jin. Jin is like his second mother more than his hound. Whatever happens to anyone in the family, Jungkook doesn't want Jin to get worried or disappointed. It's all because of Yin's caring and loving nature. How he raised his 3 brothers, even when he was just 1 year older than them, and how he handles situations in stress. Jin once almost got severely sick when his one surgery failed, and he didn't eat properly for the whole 4 days. Jungkook was the one who made Jin understand how important he is for everyone in the family, and how Jin is important for him. They are charted for sure, but the care only increased. Namjoon and Taehyung always admire their bond. They always get amused at how Jungkook will take a step down, just to make Din less worried about him and others. Okay, I forgive you too. You brat, just because of you I have to be worried about Jungkook all the time. Din playfully scolded Taehyung, who was giving puppy eyes to Jeon all the time. Taehyung rolled his eyes. This is not new. From the beginning Din was always worried about Jungkook, whenever he goes out with Jungkook. But then he smiled evilly with his eyes curving. Kooki, didn't we hear someone calling for Junihyun last night? Taehyung said with the infamous Taekook face, and Namjin, Yoonmin and Sope froze in their places. They gulped visibly. Dan was looking at Taehyung in utter disbelief. Jeon couple were confused. Who called June bear? Elder Mrs Jeon asked. And Jungkook also looked at the secret evil smile of this devil beer. Oh, mad, you know, when Kooki was taking me out, we heard someone calling Junihyung's name. Taehyung said, batting his eyelashes prettily, looking all innocent. I got so scared, he added, and immediately Elder Mrs Jeon and Mrs Jeon sat beside him on both sides, taking his palms in their hands. Don't be scared, baby bear. Did you tell this bunny about the voice? Elder Mrs Jeon asked. Taehyung nodded his head, and Jungkook instantly knew his death was not so far, while the couples were also looking at the scene of innocence being played in front of them brutally. Wooshik saw the devil smirk of his brother, and immediately knew what his devil brother is up to. Bogum and he exchanged glances, and nodded their heads knowingly. Jeon only, why don't we eat and talk? Bear is still not recovered completely. He needs to take medicine. Wooshik successfully diverted the topic, and the endangered couples were thankful for that. Mr. Jeon and Elder Mr. Jeon also nodded their heads. They all went to the dining hall, forgetting the earlier discussion. After breakfast the Jeon couples went to work, and the elderly couple went to happiness. Youngsters were left at home as it is a holiday. None of them have any work. After eating, Taehyung and Jungkook slept peacefully due to the medicines. Taehyung was laying on Wooshik's lap, while Jungkook was laying his head on Jin's lap. Thank you, Hyun, Jimin said, hugging Bogum and Wooshik from the back. They both shook their heads, while Hoseok was judging them hard, sitting beside Chuga, and was looking like he just saw a toast, but relaxed when Namjoon patted his back to calm down. Little devil, always seeks trouble. It's all because of your pampering Jin, Wooshik said, but Jin smiled at him knowingly. You know that, Hyun. I can't afford to remind him of his mother that time. Chim and Hobie did well without their parents' love, but my bear always wanted his mother. I saw him calling for his mother in his sleep. He got upset for days when he saw other children's mothers coming to pick them up from school. He always asked me why his mama didn't come to pick him up, to the point where he forgot his mother's face and only recognized her by the photos he saw. By the time he got an idea what life is, those monsters abused him, beat him, scolded him, even sold him. Yin's voice dimmed and tears were glistering in his eyes. My bear doesn't show his sadness to anyone. He bullied students in school who said he's an orphan, and made up stories that he had parents, because they never saw them. My bear didn't show anyone how hurt he was when he saw how other children's parents were loving them. His little brain couldn't understand why his parents are hating so much, he added, and his voice choked. Namjoon hugged him sideways, rubbing his shoulder in a comforting way. Shim and Hobie understood that their parents were wrong and bad people with words, but my bear learned it hard. He tried to be his mama's favorite and papa's boy, but all he got was coldness and indifference. He used to wait late at night looking at his phone with swollen eyes and red face on his birthdays, just in a hope that what if his parents called him to wish him. He made a lot of handmade gifts for his mother, just to impress her and make her happy, but was never able to give. That's why I am worried more about him. What can I do? He's so sensitive, but he doesn't show it to anybody, Cain said between his sobs. And others' eyes were also teary by this time. I saw my Betty Bear becoming something he's not. Just to avenge our parents for doing horrible things to us, I saw him become the one he hated the most. But he did anyway. Then he started getting nightmares. Extreme stress of schools, and our side work for bounty hunting for money, managing the school bullies. Everything made my bear overwhelmed, but he didn't complain. Never broke down. But for the first time, I saw a tiny crack, a small vulnerable bear in front of Kook. That time I knew my bear had grown big, big enough to start loving this bunny, he said with a smile, caressing sleeping Jungkook's hair. But then I saw Taehyung was not only the one to love Kook. Kook also has the same feelings for Tae, so I agreed for them to roam around. Maybe the bear feels safe and tells Kook about his insecurities. And that's exactly what happened. He added. Namjin nodded his head too, while the others were a bit shocked knowing Yin knew this all along.